Not to the... Hmm? Might have a problem here. What's up guys, Ash from Measure Guide is here. So back today with the updated Nitrose deck profile. So I'm gonna go straight into it. We are starting off with Grenache. This is the starter for Nitrose decks. People were using Peter for a while, for God knows what reasons. Trying to get a bigger Grenache, I guess, but we'll always go back to the Grenache, trying to get a bigger Gosh, I guess. But we're always going to go back to the Grenache. So, Grenache starter, probably nothing better to run, honestly. So, you're going to run one of him, and even the people that did run Peter, they ran Grenache anyway, so that's just kind of, trigger lineup, standard, 4 heals. This is the new girl that everybody really likes, so why not, right? Throw her in. 4 of this stand. Well, effect stands are pretty popular, so generally let it sit in there. And the trigger lineup has remained largely, pretty much, almost 100% unchanged. I'm doing a really bad job with SPing this out. 8 crit, 4 stand, and that is pretty much the lineup that you want. Better. Okay. And moving on to our grade 1s. We are running 1 Bale. Pretty cool. Does that counter-charging stuff, and it can go back into the deck. So just 1 of him. Some people run 2 in testing. 1's been pretty fine. Run 2 of the new girl here, Fatal Shade. She's a Soul Blast 1. Soul Blast 1. Put this card in the bottom of your deck when she is retired due to an effect of a hollow ability. If you have a Nitrose Vanguard, you can pay the cost. If you do, choose a non-grade 1 card from drop zone and call it to rear. So why do you run her? Why is she good? She sets up plays, pretty much. So you can use her to call out this thing, for example, so that you can play defensively with it next turn. So this is probably the main thing you're going to call with it. And I guess you could call out Grenache either way as well. So if you need to, if you weren't able to get a Grenache out for your big turn, you can call it with that, or you can set up a big defensive play here with this. So 2 of her. I can just kind of condense this, maybe. I don't know. Yeah, doing a bad job. Next grade 1s. Running 3 Niggerbone. I'm running 3 because he doesn't have a hollow, so I'd rather have another copy of her. You can run down 1 copy of her you can bring her down to 1 if you want to get 4 of this, but I figured in a lot of my testing 2 of her for consistency, and 3 of this has just been fine. Very rarely will you not get it, I should say. So 3, then Ghosties. Again, stride fodder, correction Nitrose, and doing a pretty bad job with that as well. Taking that out, and where are they? Oh, well, not sleeve, but 2, 4. There you go, 4 of those. And then Perfect Guards. Where's my other one? Okay, so we're running. There it is. 4 Djinns. You can run the new girl if you want, but this deck is very counterblast heavy. That's a new girl. So she's pretty decent as well. She's hollow, and you can do some pretty cool plays with her. And if you find that her effect is good enough, I guess. In general, though, the Djinn is going to help you a lot more, just because it is the counter charge, and this deck is such a heavy counterblast deck. But if you're okay with resource management and you're not having any issues, then by all means run the Banshee. So Moving on to grade 2s, we run 2 of the new Shade. She's pretty much a more utility version of Rook. So if you don't like her, run more Rook. But she's also a countercharger, so pretty decent with that, and hollow, of course. And she can potentially swing for pretty high as well, but not as consistently as Rook. So 2 of that. 2 Rooks. Again, this is, I would say, run a minimum of 2, because he is going to be your big beater with the new Stride. You're going to be able to hit really high with him pretty easily. So it's pretty nice to haul him. I run her because I like to have choices in utility and whatnot, but you can run more of him, replacing her as well. And then 3 Cannoneers, a lot of cool plays with it, kills a lot of stuff that's important to your opponent, gets you that free, pretty much counterblast one, draw, kill something. So it's pretty nice. You always want to give one in the drop, so that's why we run 3, just for consistency. 2 King Serpents, you are there. He is a counter charger for you in soul charges as well, so it's pretty cool. What sucks is he's 8k, and he's also, you have to play from the drop to soul charge and counter charge. So otherwise, though, he's pretty solid. Don't want to ride him, but with a regular Nightrose call, he becomes a 10k attacker, and you can do some pretty interesting gash plays with him as well if you get him first. 3 Near Lazy. This is the one that you can also reduce down to 2 if you need another Rook, but he lets you set up for extra attacks and whatnot, cool combos. It's pretty standard. Moving on to the grade 3s, we run 1 Nightstorm. He's still really good. You never want to ride him, that's why I'm running 1. You can run 2, I wouldn't recommend more than 2 though. But you definitely want 1 because he's just really nice for setting up those really cool, like, huge attack turns that you can do. Huge mini attack turns you can do. So if you ride him, it's pretty brutal, but otherwise it's good. Running to the Starlights, decided I didn't want both from 11, 2 on the 11th players in the deck, but there you go. She is pretty decent. It's pretty much a full column herself if you can call her out with her first ability. Not as good as the old Nightrose, just because the old one has more defensive play. And but this one, the on Stride, is still pretty decent. Can get you more cards in your drop if you need it. And she is a hollow herself, so can activate some of those abilities that require that. So 2 copies of those. When the whale comes out, though, I'm probably going to reduce it down to 1 and put the whale in this slot. The 12k whale, for those who know what I'm talking about. So new Nightrose, we're doing 2 of each, or old Nightrose I should say, 2 of each of the arts. They're pretty cool. Anyway, still solid. One of the best Granblue, probably one of the best cards in general in the game right now. Her defensive play is insane with the reviving things back and the combos that you can do with that. You know, killing things on the opponent's turn, like that. Pretty much doing like a denial Griffin for 2 counterblast and 3 off the top. So her other ability though is pretty nice. It works with anything. So again, makes this 10k. It makes a lot of other things hit as well. This one is a hollow only as well, so this can call anything. So that is deck. So moving on to the Stride. So this is kind of what has changed the most, and this deck is kind of plays a bit differently from the old Nightrose decks. So the old Nightrose decks, I feel, were a bit more just brutal, but this one gives you a lot more. This new variant with the new cards give you more options, so to say. So we're running, starting off with 4 Gashes. Gash still probably the best Stride in the game for Nightrose players. I would dare say even Granblue players, but he gets you out a bunch of, pretty much can fill your field. He can do multiple attacks, and he pretty much really good opening game, really good mid game, and it's a good ender as well. So it's pretty much almost no time in the game Gash is bad to play. So if you're not sure, you'll probably just Gash. So we're running him at 4, and I believe that he's probably going to get hit with a restriction, honestly, because they're reduced down to 2 or something, maybe, if Nightrose is so prevalent, because Busher has been trying to get Nightrose players to stop running 4 of him since he came out. So 4 of that, and then we run 2 Dragoot. Anyway, so Dragoot is really insane, actually. So let me just go over his effect. These Counterblast 2, you can choose a card from hand, discard it, and then choose the same number of cards as the your drop zone as the number of your rear guards. Call them to separate rears, and for each unit called with a hollow ability, your opponent chooses one of his or her rear guards and retires them. Your opponent has no rear guards, you draw a card. So most of the time when you play this, it's going to be second stride, maybe even third again. But his Counterblast 2 might be kind of heavy, depending on how well you've been using your resources, but there's a lot of unflipping in this deck. But he lets you fix your field. You want 2 or 3 units out. Fix your field pretty much can give your opponent a field wipe, and his discard is nil because it lets you have another. You throw another card in the drop, right? And then you can draw a card back. So he is insane, and he fixes things. He destroys a lot of decks that depend on certain fields. He's a card that helps wreck like Nova Grapplers and whatnot. So there's that. Then we run 2 of the old Nightrose. She's still good to have because she is a during battle phase pretty much ability, and that is why she will somewhat remain relevant. You always probably want 2 of her just because battle phase calls, you get a lot of attacks with her. So she's pretty much like the golden dragon for Granblue. Maybe not as good, but that. Then we run 2 of the new ones. Negro Songer. You can use her as first stride. I generally don't ever use her as a first stride. Maybe second. Generally, you're trying to use her to end game though. She makes things pretty big. She lets you have a really big attacker, and that's where you can get the big Nigger Rook and so on plays that you see at what. But you run 2. Some people run 4 in testing. 4 is kind of I never used the second pair like in all of my games of testing. So if you feel like you need another, go ahead. Then I run Sabriz. People still do the whole grade 2 lock thing, whatever. So whatever, nice to have. That can be changed out if you don't have that problem, or you don't anticipate that problem. Obadiah, more useful in this build than other builds, just because this build isn't as kind of bursty, I guess, as the previous build. So you can use him to set up, and he's not a bad first stride, especially if you go first. If you go first, don't hesitate to use him. So, or if you can stride first, I should say. Then onto the G guards. So our last 4 slots will be reserved for G guards. We're running 2 lilies. Sadly, we have 1 SP, but she is awesome. You always want 2. You want 4 G guards in this build no matter what, but you're gonna run 2 of her no matter what, just because she is so good with combo plays. The whole like the Nile Griffin thingy with the Cannoneer, and then the whole 21k Vanguard with this. You always want to, just so that you can do that as much as possible, and I guess you can get a free booster out of it as well if you have the stride fodder. Running 1 of this thing, Deep Corpse. It's easy 20k shield, and it gives you 2 more cards in the drop. And early on, it's probably the one you're going to use first. Is you're always probably going to GR with this first, unless there's some issue causing you otherwise. And it gives you more cards in the drop zone. And then I run 1 of this new one. This can be this or a Gleam. I just found that this is more useful than a Gleam half the time, because a Gleam does let you cycle cards, which are really nice. But this can, in a pinch, be a 30k shield. So really awesome with that. Anyway, pretty standard. It doesn't really play any much different from the previous Nightrose. You just have to be your goal in your turn is just see what's the max amount of attacks or resources you can get out of your opponent in the turn, and that could be a bit complicated for some people. This deck is apparently to most people probably the best deck in the format right now, just because of the versatility. You have pretty much something to counter everything, and because you don't keep rear guards, for example, Link Joker matchup isn't too bad. And if Kagero and like Narukon want to kill your rear guards or whatever, it's fine. The bind thing might be a problem, but in general, you have something to deal with everything. But I hope that gives you guys an idea on how to build this deck, and maybe test around and play with your own variants. But this has been Ash from Magic, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you all next time.
Hey guys, Camille here! May 20th is coming up and people have been asking about the IYG stand-up series. So I brought a special guest to help me explain.
Hello, Camille.
Diesel, why are you talking like that?
This is the promo, right?
Tell him about the tournament.
The IYG stand-up series starts at 10 a.m. with a time to register for the tournament.
Beat the line by registering online. Singles will be at the event as well as other cool merchandise.
Each round will be best 2 games of 3 in Swiss format.
That means you're not out if you lose.
At the end of the day, there will be a cut to top 8, where best 2 of 3 continues in single elimination format.
At least half a case of Vanguard will be given across the top 8, not to mention another special prize. Will you be playing Diesel?
Sorry, I fight for my friends.
Oh geez. Join us at Yeti Gaming May 20th.
And if you can make it, locals May 19th at 6:30 p.m.
Stand up! Vanguard!